In 1997, Ronaldo had just finished one of the greatest individual seasons of all time at Barcelona. He was loved by a club and a city that lives for football, and a promising team was built around him. He could have done pretty much whatever he liked there, but instead, he moved to Inter to do it all again, and for a short while, he really did. Ronaldo arrived at Inter as the man to finally bring them a league title. They hadn't won a Scudetto since 1989, and had only 2 in the previous 26 years, all while their local neighbours had been hoovering up the trophies. But Ronaldo was their great hope, the young man on whom they spent $27 million, a world record fee, making him the only man other than Diego Maradona to have broken that record twice. To say Ronaldo's arrival was highly anticipated in Italy would be an understatement. Apathy had been growing and attendances shrinking in the years before he signed, but that summer Inter sold 51,000 season tickets as opposed to the 16,000 the year before. Their main sponsor, Pirelli, produced a brilliant advert in which Ronaldo stood on one foot, arms outstretched, standing over Rio de Janeiro like Christ the Redeemer in black and blue stripes, with tyre tread on the sole of his other foot and the slogan, "Power is nothing without control," beneath. Ronaldo's debut was upstaged by Alvaro Recoba, a fellow new signing who came off the bench against Brescia to score 2 late goals and salvage a victory. But after that, he was off and running, scoring 8 goals in his next 6 games, including a brilliant hat-trick against Piacenza in the Coppa Italia. At the end of the year, he was voted FIFA World Player of the Year for a second time, the first Inter player to ever receive the award, and although they finished 5 points behind Juventus in the title race, Ronaldo scored 25 goals in the league, 34 overall, no small feat in a country as famous for its merciless defences as Italy. They also won the UEFA Cup, a lollipopping Ronaldo capping a 3-0 victory in the final over Lazio. But under all of this, there was a nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right with his knee. It had caused him problems in the past, and while the knee might not have been the source of that remarkable episode that nearly saw him miss the Summer World Cup finals, it felt like a gently ticking time bomb. Nevertheless, the following season, Inter still lent on Ronaldo. "Taking the field without him is like leaving home in winter without an overcoat," said midfielder Diego Simeone. Inter went cold quite a lot. Increasing concerns over the pain in his knee meant Ronaldo only started 19 games, but he still scored 14 goals. Around him, the club was in chaos, getting through 4 managers in the season and ultimately only finishing in 8th place. That summer's Copa America, in which Ronaldo looked back to his best as he helped Brazil win the tournament, provided some relief, but the following season would be where his previous problems came back to a head. After the arrival of new manager Marcelo Lippi and record signing Christian Vieri, Ronaldo found himself on the bench in the opening weeks of the season. He was in the starting lineup by November, but in a game against Lecce, he felt a crack in his knee, which turned out to be a split in his patellar tendon. After surgery in Paris, Ronaldo made his comeback in the Coppa Italia final against Lazio that April, but just 7 minutes after coming on as a substitute, he collapsed onto the floor in agony. This time, that same patellar tendon had snapped completely. He missed the entire 2000-2001 season, painstaking recovery taking place in Brazil, the USA and France. Eventually, he returned in the autumn of 2001, but his time out had caused other problems, and comebacks were curtailed by various thigh injuries. Inter manager Hector Cooper rapidly lost patience, often refusing to pick Ronaldo even when he was fit, and the club hierarchy sided with him, sowing the seeds for what would happen that summer. Nevertheless, when an injury to Vieri meant Cooper almost had to play Ronaldo, he scored some crucial goals as Inter went into their final game against Lazio in pole position for the title. But Cooper substituted Ronaldo at half-time, causing him to break down in tears in full view of the cameras, in the same stadium his knee had shattered almost 2.5 years earlier. Nevertheless, Luis Felipe Scolari had more faith in Ronaldo and selected him for what was that summer's World Cup. Ronaldo didn't quite win the tournament on his own, but that wasn't far from being the truth. Apart from anything else, it confirmed that he was back. Despite the club paying medical bills and supporting Ronaldo through his recovery, the retention of Cooper meant that Ronaldo had no intention of staying at Inter. He handed in a transfer request, and while Barcelona, Manchester United and Arsenal were all mentioned, he only wanted Real Madrid. The deal took months, involved a Machiavellian attempt by Barcelona to scupper it, and was nearly derailed when Real president Florentino Perez's son used their dial-up internet connection, thus preventing Inter from calling to confirm with just hours to go before the transfer deadline. But in the end, the move was confirmed for a fee of €22 million plus Argentinian winger Santi Solari. Ronaldo played 99 times for Inter, scoring 59 goals, an excellent record for anyone, never mind a striker who had spent most of his 5 seasons at the club out with devastating injuries. But ultimately, his time there represents one of Italian football's great what-ifs. If Ronaldo had stayed fit and had been as good as he could have been, what could Inter have achieved?